Meanwhile, let's just break down the details for you. At the heart of this controversy over replacing MGNREGA with the Viksit Bharat G-RAM-G mission is not just a name change. It is a fundamental restructuring of India's largest rural employment guarantee. But the government says this is an expansion. The opposition, meanwhile, says this is dilution. But for millions of rural households, the real question is quite simple at this stage. Will work still be guaranteed when it is needed most? Let's put the facts on the table for you at the moment. Earlier, you see the MGNREGA, it guaranteed 100 days of wage employment per rural household, 100% wage cost borne by the center. It was 90-10, and it was demand-driven. Work had to be provided when demanded. Now, with this new VB G-RAM mission and this bill, 125 days of wage employment per rural household is the guarantee. The wages are to be shared 60-40 between the center and the states. It's actually supply-driven because the center decides state-wise allocations. So yes, the number of days goes up, but who pays, who decides, and when work is available, all change. So the questions at this stage are that, is this really about more employment or more control? Is this about empowerment of rural workers or a quiet rollback of a legal right? Earlier, as I mentioned, it used to be borne mostly by the center, the cost. Now that is turning to a 60-40 share between the center and the states. Meanwhile, as the government pushes ahead with the VB G-RAM bill, opposition parties are flagging 5 core objections, each one that they argue strikes at the very foundation of what MGNREGA stood for, which was basically dignity of labor, also decentralization and a legal right to work. The government is insisting that this is an expansion. But the opposition says this is erosion of federalism, of legal rights, and of Mahatma Gandhi's legacy. So let's just break down the objections for you. Beginning with the first one, removing Mahatma Gandhi's name. The opposition calls this symbolic, but dangerous. They argue that erasing Mr. Gandhi's name is erasing the moral and philosophical foundation of the Rural Employment Guarantee, turning a rights-based law into a rebranded welfare scheme. Next, increase fiscal burden on states. Under MGNREGA, the center bore the wage cost. Now, states must pay 40% of wages. Opposition leaders are warning this will penalize poorer states, forcing them to either cut work days or delay payments. Then there's the weakening of the legal guarantee of employment. MGNREGA, as I mentioned, was demand-driven. Work had to be provided on request. VB G-RAM-G is supply-driven, with allocations decided by the center. So the opposition argues this converts a legal right into an administrative discretion. Days are increased, wages are unchanged. Yes, work days rise from 100 to 125, but wage rates remain the same despite inflation. So the charge is that more labor, same pay, weakening real income security. Then there's the allegation that the opposition has highlighted of it being a tool of central control. You see, statewide allocations will now be determined by the center. Opposition parties allege that this gives New Delhi the power to reward or punish states, undermining cooperative federalism. These are the objections that have been highlighted by the opposition.